Some parents seem cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. And here is the part that will surprise many people. Most of them are not bad people. They are wounded people. Wounded people raising children. Wounded people repeating patterns they never asked for. Stay until the end, because what you are about to learn might change how you see your own parents or how you see yourself. I am not here to scare anyone. I am not here to point fingers. I am here to explain something that rarely gets explained. The psychology behind neglect is not about cruelty. It is about survival. A parent who cannot give love often never received it themselves. This is not an excuse. It is an explanation. And explanations are where healing begins. Here is the truth that most people never learned. Children do not choose their parents. But parents were once children too. Children who may have been ignored. Children who may have been dismissed. Children whose emotional needs were treated as inconveniences. And those children grew up. They became adults. They had children of their own. And somewhere deep inside them, a wounded child still lives. Psychologists call this the shadow child. It is the part of us that carries our earliest wounds, our deepest fears, our most painful beliefs about ourselves. When a parent neglects their child, they are often reenacting something ancient, something that happened to them before they could speak, before they could defend themselves, before they even knew what they were losing. Research from the Northern Finland birth cohort studied the connection between parents' childhood experiences and their children's emotional neglect. The findings were striking. A father's own adverse childhood experiences significantly increased his child's risk of experiencing emotional neglect. The trauma did not end with him. It traveled through time. It moved from one generation to the next, like an invisible inheritance. Imagine trying to pour water from an empty cup. Impossible, right? This is what happens when emotionally depleted parents try to give their children what they need. They reach inside themselves for patience, for warmth, for presence, and they find nothing there. Not because they do not care, but because nobody ever filled their cup when they were young. Nobody taught them what emotional nourishment looks like. They cannot give what they never received. Some parents grew up in homes where feelings were dangerous, where crying meant weakness, where needing comfort meant being too sensitive. These children learn to shut down their own emotions just to survive. And decades later, when their own child cries, something strange happens. Instead of comfort, they feel panic. Instead of empathy, they feel irritation. The child's tears trigger their own buried pain, pain they learned long ago to suppress. Let us look deeper. Why do some parents struggle to care for their children? The reasons are more complex than most people realize. First, there is unresolved trauma. A parent who was abandoned cannot easily stay present. Their nervous system learned that attachment leads to pain, so they distance themselves, not from cruelty, from self-protection. Their brain literally wired itself to avoid deep connection, because connection once meant danger. When their child reaches for closeness, alarm bells ring in their unconscious mind. Second, mental health struggles play a significant role. Depression makes everything feel heavy. Anxiety makes everything feel dangerous. A parent battling these invisible illnesses may look neglectful when they are actually drowning. They want to be present, they want to engage, but their own mind has become a prison they cannot escape. Third, overwhelming stress can deplete anyone. Poverty, job loss, divorce, illness. When survival becomes the only focus, emotional attunement becomes a luxury some parents simply cannot afford. A single mother working 3 jobs to keep the lights on has no energy left for bedtime stories. This is not neglect by choice. It is neglect by circumstance. Fourth, substance use creates a wall between parent and child. Alcohol and drugs hijack the brain's reward system. They replace healthy connection with chemical dependency. The parent is physically present but emotionally absent. Their body sits at the dinner table, but their mind lives somewhere else entirely. Fifth, some parents never learned what good parenting looks like. They had no model, no blueprint. They are navigating parenthood completely blind, making mistakes they do not even recognize as mistakes. How can someone give warmth they never experienced? How can someone teach emotional regulation they were never taught? Here is the part that matters most. Children of neglectful parents often grow up carrying a heavy belief. The belief that they were not worth caring for, that something was fundamentally wrong with them. This belief is a lie, but it feels true, because when a child's emotional needs are repeatedly ignored, they internalize a devastating message. I am not important. My feelings do not matter. I am alone in this world. These beliefs become what psychologists call core beliefs or inner programming. They shape everything: relationships, career choices, self-worth. A child who felt invisible grows into an adult who expects to be overlooked. A child whose emotions were dismissed becomes an adult who cannot name their own feelings. The neglect ends in childhood, but its echoes continue for decades. Now for the part that gives hope. The cycle can be broken, not easily, but it can be broken. The first step is awareness, recognizing the patterns, seeing how the past bleeds into the present. Many parents who struggle do not even realize they are repeating history. They think they are doing better than their own parents did. And in some ways, they might be. But the emotional neglect continues in subtler forms. A parent who was never emotionally validated might dismiss their child's fears as silly. A parent who never received comfort might tell their crying child to toughen up. They are not being cruel, they are being exactly what they were taught to be. The healing begins when someone finally says, "This pattern stops with me." What does healing look like in practice? It starts with self-compassion. Many neglectful parents hate themselves. They see their failures, they feel their inadequacy. But shame never healed anyone. Understanding does. A parent who can acknowledge their limitations can begin to address them. They can stop punishing themselves for wounds they did not inflict upon themselves. Therapy helps, not because something is wrong with the person, but because everyone deserves support in understanding their own story. For a skilled therapist can help a parent connect the dots, can help them see how their childhood shaped their parenting, can help them develop skills they never had the chance to learn. Skills like emotional attunement, like recognizing a child's needs, like responding with warmth instead of withdrawal. And here is something beautiful. It is never too late. A parent who becomes aware at 50 can still change. A parent who learns to regulate their own emotions can still teach their adult children something valuable. Healing is not about perfection, it is about direction. It is about trying again tomorrow when today felt impossible. It is about small steps taken consistently over time. When you see a parent who seems cold or distant, remember this. Behind every neglectful parent is a neglected child, still waiting, still hoping, still wondering why they were not enough. This is not about excusing harmful behavior. Neglect hurts children. This is about understanding its origins, because understanding opens the door to change. Every parent who heals their own wounds gives their children a gift, the gift of not having to carry that weight, the gift of being seen, the gift of mattering. And sometimes, the most powerful thing a wounded parent can do is simply acknowledge the truth. I was hurt. I carried that hurt into my parenting, and now I am choosing something different. Healing does not require perfect parents. It requires honest ones. It requires parents willing to look at their shadows, willing to face what they were given, willing to ask for help. No parent who genuinely tries is a failure. The failure is not in struggling. The failure is in refusing to see. To anyone watching this who recognizes themselves, whether as the child who was neglected or the parent who struggles, you are not defined by patterns you did not choose. You are defined by the patterns you choose from this moment forward. The cycle can end, not through shame, not through blame, through understanding, through compassion, through the courageous choice to do something different. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And write in the comments, which part resonated with you most? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today.